Rev'd Erica, and I'm a member of the ministry team here at St. Faith's. Before I start, I just want to take you back to last week and remind you about what Paul was discussing. So last week, Paul discussed the profound concept of identity. He highlighted the contrast between traditional identity and modern identity. He reminded us of the intricate factors that shape us for who we are. So if you remember, traditional identity is a very external thing. So it's where community shapes who we are. There are community standards and ideals which we adhere to and conform to, and that shapes who we are. Whereas modern identity is from the inside out. We actually define who we are. But that can lead to individualism and a sense of isolation and disconnection with others. However, Paul said to us, and it was a really good point, when we shift our perspective to a Christian viewpoint, we discover that our identity is actually rooted in God, and it's rooted in His unwavering love for us. And He actually loves us just for who we are. We don't have to decide anything. You and I are His sons and His daughters. And today I want to look at a particular aspect of our identity, and that is actually the process of aging, who we are as we age, because this is a process that affects every single one of us. The moment we're born and take our first breath, we are aging. In the United Kingdom, this journey often extends to longer life expectancies, which presents unique challenges for us. Beyond our borders, and in certain ethnic groups within it, attitudes towards aging differ quite a lot from ours. In many cultures, older individuals are revered and maintain close ties within an extended family. But for most of us in the United Kingdom, that sort of a perspective stands in stark contrast to where we find ourselves. It's more common here for older adults to live independently or in care homes, often miles away from their close family, and this is due to shifts in family dynamics and geographical mobility. Regrettably, alongside that, Western culture has, at times, harboured a very negative view of ageing, which leads us to confront a contemporary issue of ageism. It's crucial, and I want you to note that ageism is unacceptable regardless of which age group it's targeted at. So it doesn't just affect older people. Sometimes, as older people, we're guilty of targeting younger people too, but it does disproportionately affect older age groups. To comprehend the reality of ageism, I'd like to consider some examples. One documented instance is workplace discrimination. According to a recent survey by the Centre for Aging Better, individuals over 50 often face discouragement when they were applying for jobs, or when they were going for a promotion, or when they were applying for training, because these aspects of work are quite often targeted at younger age groups. And I realise many of you fall into that younger age group, and I think certainly when I was younger, I didn't actually notice that. Many respondents of this survey reported facing age-related comments or jokes from their colleagues or from their managers. These statistics demand our attention. Age should not be a barrier to professional advancement. Ageism, however, extends beyond the workplace. It permeates right the way through our youth-centric culture, compelling many to resort to cosmetic procedures in an attempt to defy stereotypes associated with ageing. The British Association of Aesthetic Plastic Surgeons reports a surge in non-surgical treatments like fillers and skin tightening among men, along with a corresponding increase in women opting for treatments such as facelifts and liposuction. These actions are often driven by societal narratives, and the surge in demand can be attributed to TV shows, celebrity endorsements, fashion trends, and global events. The proliferation of high street beauty clinics that offer these procedures is testament to these trends. And I think probably it makes them worse because it's so readily available. So why do so many of us go to such great lengths to appear younger? Because actually none of this stuff affects our biological age. It doesn't make us any younger. It doesn't work. Well, part of the answer lies in the pervasive narrative surrounding ageing, which frequently portrays it as a period marked by dependency, frailty, illness, loss. This fuels a fear of, fuels a pursuit of relentless looking for eternal youth. It's an empty, shallow pursuit. We're never going to find it, but actually we're so afraid of growing old, we just want to stay young. While it's true that ageing can be challenging, and it involves changes in our bodies and in our minds, it's not all bad. Although some of us will need assistance with tasks that actually we might find okay and we can do on our own while we're younger, ageing is not entirely negative, because with age actually also comes an opportunity for us to shed many of the burdens and responsibilities that actually we have as younger adults. We carry lots of stuff when we're younger. We're busy, we have lots to fit in, and as we age actually we have an opportunity to let some of that go. It's imperative that we challenge ageist notions and that we celebrate the enduring contributions that people make to a society over their lifetime. But before we actually explore ageing and ageism further, I just want to pause to reflect a bit more on our modern world's obsession with youth, because we live in an era where youth is really highly esteemed. It's impossible to scroll through social media or flip through a magazine without encountering images of youthful, vibrant individuals. Advertisements often imply that youth equates to beauty, success, and happiness. And these messages wield considerable influence, even if we're not always conscious and aware of it. They seep into our subconscious minds and they shape our views of ageing. Whether it's anti-aging creams, and I use those, or fitness regimes promising youthful bodies, the market is saturated with products and services aimed at defying the aging process. It's no surprise that many of us are conditioned to fear growing older. However, it's essential to remember that ageing is a natural aspect of life. It encompasses experiences, lessons, and opportunities for personal growth. When we view ageing through a different lens, it transforms into a process to be embraced rather than dreaded. Let's think about the concept of wisdom. In many cultures, older people are revered as repositories of wisdom. They've amassed knowledge and life experiences that can benefit society. Consider it this way. If we all remained perpetually young, we'd forfeit all the insights that accompany older age. So returning again to the subject of ageism, it's not just confined to cosmetic procedures or workplace discrimination. It's a pervasive attitude that can infiltrate every facet of an older person's life through our community and even actually sometimes in church. It can manifest subtly, like assuming an older person can't adapt to technology, or more overtly, there have been reports been done that reveal sometimes people's medical needs are neglected as they grow older because things are prioritised in favour of younger people. To genuinely combat ageism, we must cultivate intergenerational understanding and respect. Younger generations do have much to learn from the older ones, just as older generations benefit from the fresh perspective of the younger. By bringing these generational gaps and by bringing them and highlighting them and trying to bridge them, we can forge a more harmonious and inclusive society. You might wonder why ageism is so deeply ingrained into our culture. And part of the answer, as we've said, lies in the fear of our own mortality. As we witness older individuals grappling with physical challenges or health issues, we inevitably confront our own vulnerability. And this discomfort can lead to avoidance or neglect of older people. However, ageing isn't just about decline. It's not even always about decline. It's often about resilience and adaptation. Many older individuals, and I see plenty in this church, who navigate their physical limitations with grace. To deepen our understanding of this issue, I just want to return back to that reading from Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, that was our second reading. It looked a bit gloomy, but it offers wisdom about the various stages of life and their purposes. So the writer suggests that youth is a season for enjoying life, but also acknowledges the challenges of growing older. They use metaphors, which are comparisons related to the physical changes in the body. In verse 2, the mention of the sun, light, moon, and stars darkening describes declining eyesight. And when it talks about clouds returning with rain, it's saying that there's times that we feel down or sad, which is often common in older age groups. In verse 3, when it's talking about the trembling guards, it's referring to shaky hands. I know my mother quite often drops things that she used to be able to have a firm grip on. And the strong men who are bent describes people who start walking with a stooped posture, which often happens to us as we age. And the women ceasing to grind. I wonder if you could, those of you who weren't here earlier might guess at what the women ceasing to grind are. It's actually about losing your teeth. Because actually, unless you have a really good dentist, as you get older, and even if you do have a good dentist for some of us, as you get older, your teeth get a bit wobbly and you lose some. I've got a few missing. This description of aging sounds really a bit gloomy, doesn't it? But it's a practical way for us to talk about the issues that come with growing older, and it helps us to confront and prepare for those challenges. And I told the congregation that was here earlier that to actually fully understand this scripture, what is really important to know is that at the time that this was written, the age of 35 was a big deal. Most people didn't live beyond 35. So this is about 35-year-olds. And if that's what 35 looks like, I'm beyond hope. So the historical context makes things a little bit tricky for us because, looking around, we don't view most 35-year-olds as stooped and shaking and frail. So this makes us, in our society, think of much older people. But not all older people are like that, so we must actually be objective and not subjective in our thinking. What we can learn from this passage is that the wisdom about life goes beyond time, and it can help us understand the complexities of aging across different generations. It encourages us to appreciate the unique contribution each generation makes, and also the unique journey of growing older and its wisdom and its challenges. Looking at this from a timeless perspective, it reminds us that some things are best done when we're younger, but there's also a unique plan for our later years. With age often comes the deep wisdom that we might not have in our younger days. Our relationship with God is meant to last a lifetime. It's not just for when we're young. There are stories in the Bible about people who received a calling from Him when they were much older, in the middle of their lives or even old age. And these stories about how God interacts with us at every stage of life shows us that God has a purpose for every stage of our lives. A verse from the book of Isaiah 46 reinforces this idea. Even when you're old, I am here for you. Even when your hair turns grey, I will take care of you. I created you, and I will support you. And then turning our attention back to the reading that we heard first today from Luke, we encounter two remarkable older individuals who lived in purpose and faith through their older years. Simeon's story is a profound illustration of the value of patience and trust in God's timing for our lives. Simeon waited for ages to meet Jesus. God had told him when he was a bit younger that would happen, and he waited patiently, and this came to fruition. Imagine being an elderly man eagerly waiting for a promise of seeing Jesus with his own eyes. Simeon's faith was rewarded, and in that moment he recognized the divine significance of Jesus. Simeon's life journey teaches us that growing older can bring a deeper sense of purpose, intricately tied with unwavering faith. And then there was Anna. And Anna's life story, again, she's old. It mentions the age of 84 in the Bible, so even in our culture, that's quite old. Emphasizes that age should never be a hindrance to living a life of meaning and purpose. Despite her years, Anna remained committed to her faith and spent her days in the temple, fasting and praying. Her dedication paid off when she too met Jesus in person. And Anna's story challenges and dispels any negative preconceptions that we might have about getting older. It vividly illustrates for us that every phase of life is laden with value and purpose, and we can find new callings and renewed passion even when we are old. Reflecting on these inspiring narratives, let's consider then how we as individuals and as this church community and as part of our wider community might embrace this perspective. How can we encourage one another to value and appreciate every stage of life, from the exuberance of youth to the wisdom of old age? Can we draw upon the examples of Simeon and Anna to inspire our own journeys, fostering faith and dedication that will last us through our whole lives? Asking these questions and questions like them should help us to move towards building a community that is inherently inclusive and deeply caring. Such a community acknowledges and celebrates the unique contributions of individuals at every juncture of life. It recognizes that each person possesses intrinsic worth, defined not solely by our age, but by the richness of our experiences and the wisdom that we offer. This vision shapes our community into a place where everyone is cherished just simply for who they are, no matter what life stage they're in. If you'd like to understand more about how God intends us to flourish as we grow older, you may want to consider joining our Time Crafted course. It's not just for old people. It actually is about the process of aging and actually how God's perspective of aging contrasts with the societal view that we find ourselves in. So actually there's something in it, even if you're younger, there's something of value to learn if you're interested. This course offers opportunity for reflection, learning and growth in understanding the multifaceted aspects of aging. It's an invitation to explore a better way of growing older, which will happen to all of us. So as I begin to draw to a close, let's just grasp that idea that our life stories extend beyond our individual experiences. Our lives intertwine with those of others through the relationships and friendships we cultivate and nurture over our lifetime, bridging the generations that came before us and the ones that are going to come after us. Each one of us holds a unique place in the bigger story, and how we live our lives matters. God's intention for us is that we live well, knowing that every stage of life offers its own gifts and lessons. My hope is that as a community, God will inspire us to actively challenge and dismantle age-related stereotypes. If we can do that, we pave the way for creating a way of life which will be marked by understanding, respect, and compassion, and we will leave a legacy that will impact our future and the future of people who come after us. In embracing every stage of life as a precious gift, we honour God's plan for our lives, and we contribute to the creation of a more inclusive, loving, and harmonious community. And I hope you can join me in saying amen to that.